Fellows Ride, der Podcast. Mit offenem Visier sprechen wir mit interessanten Gästen über Motorradfahren und mentale Gesundheit.
So hello and very warm welcome to a new episode of our podcast, the Fellows Ride podcast. Today we have guests from the island, like we say in Germany, from the UK. We have Karen and Paul from Mental Health Motorbike, an organization that, as far as I understood, is engaged to collect money to educate people to become mental health first aiders. So is that correct? Did I put that correct together?
So we are a mental health charity, and part of our objectives is to train as many people as possible in mental health first aid. So this is a recognised course in the UK. It's around about a 15-hour course, and I actually did the course and found it to be really, really sort of powerful. So I thought it would work very well with bikers, and hence this is where the direction. But the course itself is quite an expensive course, so we have to raise funds to subsidise to enable bikers to afford to be able to do the course. Karen, you know a lot about the course, don't you? Our objectives.
Yes, I spend most of my time doing with the course, doing the admin. I think, when our primary objective isn't to raise money to train bikers. Our primary objective is to look after and support bikers who have mental health problems. And we do that by training other riders to help the bikers in their community. And yes, so the course normally costs £325, and we offer it to bikers for £50. But somebody's got to pay the difference. Yeah. So we do from our funds.
Yeah. So both of you are MHFAs, or
yeah.
So we have three of you tonight because Dieter is also MHFA, and I am going to be MHFA because I would like to do the course in autumn.
Oh, brilliant!
Wow. Yeah, thank you, Eric. It's a big pleasure to have you here, Karen and Paul. Again, people from England or from the UK. Once we had Ted Simon here as a guest. It was the first edition. Then Charlie Borman was our guest. Then the girl on the bike, Vanessa, was our guest. So a big pleasure to have you with us. Yes, I did the MHFA course in Germany. It's €260, I think, something like this.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite expensive, yeah, it is, yeah. But I appreciate it super much because it was so good. I learned that much and a lot, and the people and the instructor was super good. So it's a really, really good thing, and it's in our mind that is kind of supporting like you do, that we want to bring this course under the people in Germany, not especially motorbiker. For next year, maybe we have a focus on companies, on the economics, on companies, inside companies with all these mental health problems there, that leadership, the people there have to do the course as the same thing as they do the course against, I don't know, fire extinguisher anywhere and all this stuff, you know. So this is an idea in our mind for next year. Yeah.
No, but maybe basically to introduce the Fellows Ride, Dieter, maybe we should talk a little bit and introduce the idea behind the Fellows Ride to Paul and Karen, and the ideas that we have, like the cooperation with what was their names? Gefährten mit Bärten.
Yeah.
It means comrades with beards, two guys, both MHFA, and they are doing every year on their motorbikes a tour through Germany and collect money for some special institution that works in the field of mental health. And yeah, the idea behind the Fellows Ride, I think Dieter, as the inventor, is the best one to talk about it.
Yeah, and the good thing is, one point is Australia. Australia is the country where MHFA was started. It's an Australian product, I think. The roots are in Australia. And the same thing with the Fellows Ride. The idea for the Fellows Ride was born in Melbourne, in Australia, when I took part there on the Black Dog Ride. In Australia, it's a famous motorcycle event, Black Dog Ride. More than 6,000 bikers are on the road demonstrating for depression help and suicide prevention. And when I took part, it was in 2020. I had the idea under my helmet. I try, when I'm back in Germany, I try to organize a demonstration or a thing like that. So we called it Fellows Ride. We tried it in Würzburg, in my hometown, first time, 2021. Then it was a big success. 1 year later, 2022, we had 4 Fellows Ride in Germany and Austria. And this year we have 13 Fellows Rides in Germany, Austria, 1 here in Portugal. So that means the idea is successful. The motorbikers are coming and are really happy to take part, and we are very successful in fundraising and all this stuff. But our goals are two. First of all, is to raise awareness for mental health, depression help, and the second thing is fundraising. So, but what we don't have is a product. So something, a real help, like you do with your course. And so maybe this is a missing link in our concept of Fellows Ride. And so I'm very happy and very glad that we have this meeting here and we can talk about this.
I think, first of all, thank you for the invitation. It's a real privilege. I've spent my last 20, 30 years working internationally. So Austria and Germany are very important countries to me. I lived in Munster for a number of years. And, Germany is one of those countries that I've particularly, it's very fond in my heart. So this connection is a very powerful one. So thank you very much for inviting us to this podcast. And hopefully we can tell you a little bit more about what the charity does, and the different ways that we do support our community. We've got a very vibrant community. It's a very diverse community. It's got lots of women, lots of young riders, old riders. We've got people from different cultural groups, the LGBTQ plus community, the lesbian, gay, sort of bisexual community. And I think what we're very proud of is the way that we bring that community together to become a community that supports each other. And we always say that in England, when you see a motorcyclist at the side of the road broken down, you will always see another biker stop to help that person. And I think this is international. This is something that travels across the world. And we sort of say to ourselves, why should we stop? If the bike's broken down, we will stop. If somebody's headspace is broken down, we must stop. It's even more important we stop to look after each other. So this is a very important metaphor for us, looking after each other when we break down.
Yeah, this is the perfect story, and the pictures you use with this stopping, and it's easy access to motorbikers. It's very easy in communication, all this stuff. But coming back to the Fellows Ride, is a lot of times I'm asked, why can't you help people who are affected by depression and all this stuff. And I always say, sorry, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist. I can't, even I'm not allowed to help. A lot of people are coming and asking me for a recommendation for therapist, for example, or therapy. I said, no, I can't. I'm not allowed because I'm not a therapist. I can't, I'm not allowed to. But what you are doing is exactly this missing link that we can offer help, really fundamental help, and say, yeah, I know people who can help you in the first stage or something. So this is it's super interesting, yeah.
Dieter, something we learned very, very early on was that it doesn't take a lot to help people. And very often people sometimes they don't need the therapist, they don't need the psychologist, they don't need the doctor. What they need is just somebody to listen, somebody to be there for them at their moment in crisis, and very often social isolation is the big problem here. People are very lonely, people are on their own. Our job really is to try and create a connection, a community where people are no longer alone. They can talk with each other. And you don't need to be a therapist to do that. You need to be somebody with empathy, somebody with compassion, somebody with a caring heart. And I think if we can find a group of people like we have that believe in that, this is where the magic starts to happen. And, meeting Karen, meeting our other trustees, this allows us to take it very strategically to another level. We're not just, sort of meeting individuals now, we're meeting hundreds and thousands of bikers. And we're telling them that you don't need to be alone. And having the mental health first aid, it's a very simple sort of start to helping people come up with an action plan, get that professional help, get to the doctor. But sometimes it needs somebody to sit with you to say, this is the steps that you need to go and see that therapist, that counsellor, that doctor. Sometimes it's too difficult to try and deal with this on your own. So that's the missing link that's the ingredient that we think's missing in society, is just being there for each other and helping each other.
We have a group of about 2,500 supporters who look after each other. When they're feeling good, they help each other. When they're feeling down, they take the help. And it's wonderful watching these people coming out of depressions and anxiety and giving advice to those who are just starting that journey. And we know that sometimes people will relapse because very often these things don't leave you. You just learn how to manage them. But watching these people recovering and offering hope and help to other people is absolutely fantastic. I can't tell you how good it feels to see it happening.
Oh yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, absolutely.
So the question is, how did we set that up? What is the mechanism for that? But we realised we needed to meet people where they currently congregate. And sadly, everybody tends to use Facebook. Everybody tends to, sort of look at what their friends are doing. So we thought, let's set a private group up on Facebook. Let's make it a members only. So you must apply to get into this space. And what we're doing is a group of moderators. There's currently 16 highly skilled, highly qualified moderators looking after the safety of that space. But what they do is make sure that the people on that group are bikers, or they are connected with the biker community. And the idea is, once they're in that group, we encourage people to, when you're comfortable, to introduce yourself. Maybe look at some of the other discussion threads, because what you will realise, if you're dealing with bereavement, you don't have to go very far into the discussion threads before you see somebody else that's dealing with bereavement, or relationship breakdowns, or unemployment. And the idea is, for people, when they've got the confidence to actually put, this is my problem, this is what I'm dealing with. And what we actually do as moderators, we very carefully sort of manage that discussion. We facilitate other members to help each other. So we don't talk about politics, we don't talk about religion. During the COVID vaccine sort of period, we didn't talk about COVID vaccines because that was very divisive. A lot of people had problems with that. And the idea was, take out some of these big contentious subjects and say to people, you're here to support each other, or you're here to, ask for support. And very often, very soon we realise that there's an incredible amount of goodwill and support coming from our community. And we're just there to keep it going, keep it safe. And as Karen said now, there's over 2,500 bikers that have registered because they need help or they want to help others. And that's a very, very important figure. It's because what we find is that group operates 24 hours a day. And although the moderators don't stay up 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning,
some of them do.
we actually find that people with mental health struggles, insomnia is part of that struggle. So people don't sleep very, very well. But people are there to help each other at 3 a.m. in the morning. And you imagine if you're at the worst, you're at the lowest in your life, you need to type a message and you put that very difficult message out on the group. And then 10 minutes later, somebody's actually giving you some support. We've actually found that's probably more efficient than a lot of the other groups out there, the help groups out there. And we find, our moderators will pick the messages up at 7 a.m. in the morning. Most of them will probably finish looking at the group at 11 p.m. And, it's just a very, very successful space. People meet with us at event and they will say to us, thank you, that group has saved my life. Without that group, and it's very humbling. It's very humbling to hear that. And all they want to do is
It's had us all in tears a few times, hasn't it, Paul?
Yeah,
it's very moving.
It's very, very moving.
Someone comes up and says, "Can I shake your hand because you saved my life?" You don't actually know what to say to them because it's. Oh, I'm welling up now just thinking about it, but it really is. It's lovely. It really is. Right.
Big respect. Oh wow, that sounds great. So it's a Facebook group, right? It's a Facebook group. And the other question is, you are inside the motorbiking community. It's a closed shop. It's only this community, nobody from outside. It's motorbiking. The common sense.
No, we realise in the UK the mental health services are very, very stretched. There is a problem. There isn't enough support, and we have to be very strict because if we start letting everybody into that group and they're talking about other things other than motorbikes, we would lose that magical connection. And the magical connection is the ability to get out on your motorbike and improve your headspace and talk about it with each other. When you go to an event, you have the ride there and then you meet fellow bikers. You've got that tool, which is the motorbike. You've instantly got something to talk about together. And for me, that is it's a secret weapon in many respects, because you imagine, I mean, you're both bikers. Imagine you driving your motorbike, you pull up in a strange location in a car park. The first thing you will look for is there any other bikes there?
Sure.
And if there is, it's like a magnet. You are sucked into the other bikes. And before you even get the helmet off, you've acknowledged each other. You're talking to each other. You can't wait to get the earplugs out so you can hear what the other person's saying. But for me, this is the ice is broken, particularly of men of my age and our age. We're not very good at talking. So the motorbike becomes a very useful and powerful tool to get us talking. So this is why we want to keep it focused on motorbikes, because we've got lots of things in common if we do that.
Oh, wow, yeah. Cool. Yeah, it sounds amazing, especially because this is what we are missing until now. What we are doing is we are organizing an event. We are inviting as much motorcyclists, motorbikers as possible to join us. Then we make this ride. It's a demonstration with the police and everything. We are looking for the media that they spread the news and everything, and we are raising at the end. We are raising funds or funding and money for projects. So this is it.
Yeah, local projects.
Yeah.
Local regional projects.
Local regional projects. Yeah. But what we don't have is what you are doing, and this is a puzzle, a piece of the puzzle. What fits perfectly in our concept. How do you do this rising awareness or rising people or rising money with events, or do you have a demonstration like the Fellows Ride or the Gentleman's Ride, or what are you doing in this case?
So this year, since Christmas, we have done over 85 events since Christmas. So events are very, very important to us in the sense that if we're getting people into a better headspace, if we're helping people with their recovery, part of the recovery is giving people things to look forward to. So we say to people, although you're talking on a Facebook group, a private Facebook group, we would like to meet you. We would like to involve you as a volunteer. So we have events happening all over the country.
And not our events necessarily. These are other people's events that we go to.
We run very few of our own events. People ask us to attend their events, and we invite our membership down there to come and work with us as volunteers. We have a shop on the stand. We have we give out leaflets. We give support out, so people will come to us at an event for support. So this year particularly, we're finding that more and more as our name gets out there, more people are asking for help at physical events. So, the events are one of our core objectives is to do at least 100 events every year, face to face with our community. Karen, you're an expert, aren't you?
What kind of events? What kind of events? Motorcycle rides or motorbike rides, or what kind of events?
We have a lot of one-day events in the UK or weekend events. Where road safety charities will put on an event and have a biking day. Clubs very often put on events. I'm going to the Women in Motorcycling event. That's a 2-day event in Uttoxeter. We're off to a little place called Cairn in Wiltshire on Saturday, and they close the whole town to traffic and fill it with bikers. I mean, how fabulous is that? And we're going to be in the middle of that. The next day, Paul's off to a racetrack where they're doing a bit there. So we just go wherever there are bikers, whether it's rallies, races, events. It's brilliant.
Okay. Do we have something like this in Germany? Closing a whole town for motorbikers?
Yeah.
I don't know.
10,000 motorbikes will be there in one day. That's what the numbers are.
Really?
It's apparently it's insane. It's the first time we've done it this year, so we've been invited as one of the official charities to go down there and experience it. But one of the interesting things, we have a very big construction company in the UK. I think they're a global construction company, but they came to us because they were doing some construction work in our area where the charity is based. And what they sort of said is, how can we help you? We said we need a vehicle. We need to be able to transport equipment. But once we've got the equipment to the event, we need to use that vehicle to have a safe space where we can talk with people who need the support. So they've actually given us something called a welfare van. So on the highways, on the autobahns, the motorways, we have construction crews, but they have specially kitted out vehicles. So they're like motorhomes, but without the beds on there. They have toilets on board, they have a kitchen, they have a meeting space, and the work crew can go and have their lunch in there. So this construction company and one of the major car hire companies has given us access to one of these vehicles for all of our events. So that when we're supporting people, we can go into this vehicle and actually have a cup of tea. We can have a chat in a private space. And this is the partnership. This is how we are working with different big companies. And it's great to see how many companies are coming behind us and interested in the work that we're doing. So this will be the first weekend that we have this vehicle. So we will let you know how it goes.
Yeah, I was just going to add. I mean, I'm really, really glad that we have this vehicle because I didn't expect it, but people break down in front of us at events. We've stood in a hall with 5, 6, 7,000 people walking through it, with people crying on the stand, men crying. And that's not unusual. That's actually normal. And I hadn't ever anticipated that I would see that, but I see it every single time I go out. People tell you things and well up, and some people really do break down. So to have that sort of, to get to the point where people are recognizing what we do sufficiently to help us solve those sort of problems it's really a big milestone, and it means a lot.
Wow.
And we're also finding with the events, people know that we're there. People are driving long distances on their bikes to come and meet with us. So we have to put big teams together because people are running the stand, but we also need to have a team of people there that can support people if they need it. So I did an event a few weeks ago. It was a big fundraising event, 600 bikes, and there was a big raffle going on there. There was music, but 3 people had driven over 1 hour each way to come for help. And one person, he'd promised his partner before he ends his life again, and that's how he was feeling. He feels as though he wants to end his life now. But he'd made a promise to his partner that he must reach out to somebody, and we were the person that he was reaching out to for support because of a promise that he'd made to his partner who'd stood by him for 5 years. And that's very, very important that we get that right. That we don't, we need somewhere private that we can talk to that person because inevitably he will break down. Very often it's the first time that a person has actually shared that level of information. So it comes flooding out, the emotions, the words, the confusion. So we have to be on our game to really support that person. The first thing we will do is get them to get their phones out and join peer support group, the members group. We will actively get them on that group and say to them, when you get home, start looking at some of the discussion threads, introduce yourself onto that group and start talking when you're confident enough about how you're feeling. And that will then start the mechanism for support.
Mm. Mm. Can you offer help for the next stage, for therapists, for psychologists, for hospitals or something? Do you have people behind you and you are linked with them? Scientists, doctors?
So one of our other trustees, a lady called Leanne, she is a chief nurse. She's in charge of 7 hospitals in the UK. That's her main job. But she's also part of our governance team. So today, I've not even explained this to Karen, but I've been working with Leanne today to deal with a situation that's come up from one of the big race events. And it's quite a serious situation. And that's where we're supporting a family that's gone through a terrible situation. And what we're going to be doing is meeting with that family to look at what support they need. And then we'll help them find ways of accessing that support. We don't have the funds to pay for that support. And if they go through the National Health Service, it will take a certain amount of time to get the appointments and the referrals. But what we're trying to do, it might be that there is some funds that we can apply for that they can pay for it privately to get the support that they need. So every case is individual, and we don't particularly go to that level yet. But that's not to say in the future we won't have a team of psychologists that give us pro bono time and services that we'll be able to link people into. But that's an ambition, but it's not a reality at the moment.
Mm, mm. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Sounds very interesting and some really good ideas for us. And yeah, you know that one of our intentions is to expand the idea of fellows ride internationally as well. So next year we will be in Switzerland, we will be in Romania, we will be in Portugal probably. Why not in UK, and why not making a cooperation? So we organize a fellows ride together with you, with the mental health motorbike, and make a deal. We export the fellows ride to UK, and you export your idea with the courses to Germany.
Yeah, we're certainly not doing anything difficult, are we, Paul? So it's not a difficult concept to export. It's amazingly simple. I'm an amazingly simple person, and I can cope with it. And that's the beauty of it. It is simple.
Yeah, the mechanism behind the Fellows Ride is, at least for Germany, it's a demonstration. It's not just an event, it's an official demonstration. We have in Germany the right to demonstrate, and nobody from the government is allowed to refuse that right. So that's why we can ride through the countryside with the police together. And that's the mechanism of the event itself. And we are collecting money from the bikers that come and take part in that event, and from companies, and then we donate it to a local organization that is working in the field of mental health. And the strange idea I had in the beginning was to maybe offer you this vehicle so that you can start your own Fellows Ride event in the area where Paul is living to raise money for mental health motorbike. As an idea, because you just said you are going and taking part in events, but you're not having an own event. Do you think that could be an idea to think about?
I think anything that creates partnerships is something that is of great interest. In my day job, my main job, I've worked to 4 key principles, and that is about empowering people, about educating people. It's about active participation, people taking part in something meaningful. It's also about equality, making sure that we can involve people from different, breaking down barriers. So, what we're talking about here is of great interest because it starts to look at those four areas. And I think what we could do together is empower each other. We could empower you to do something like what we're doing over in Portugal and Germany and Europe. And you could empower us to look at the Fellows Rides and how we could use that as a tool to make money and fundraise. So for me, it's a very exciting potential. I think the difficulty we have at the moment is that we're all working far too many hours. Karen works a very busy daytime job, and then she does another full-time job with mental health motorbike. So as our capacity grows, the potential for doing this will grow.
Yeah, but tell me if I'm wrong, but our focus is raise awareness. That means media coverage. So that means we are doing public relation, newspapers, television, everywhere. So maybe, and with this coverage and reach of media, we are accepted from donors and from people who want to give money, sponsors, and everything. And this is so Fellows Ride in Germany is a kind of brand in the motorcycle business. The motorcycle, the companies are very interested in us because we are doing a good thing and we are doing something for the image of the motorbikers here in Germany and all this stuff. So it's a kind of brand. And monetizing the brand means fundraising for projects. So what you are doing is a bit different. You focused on personal help, to personal support, to people. You know what I mean? So our focus is completely contrary, but we have the same goal, the same intention. But when we can bring this together, it's perfect. Then it's a perfect match. That means when we are organizing a Fellows Ride in the UK, trying to raise awareness to get the medias, I will ask Ted Simon, Charlie Borman, and all this stuff, and our connections here from Germany, industry, we can use maybe with your connections in network in the UK, we can do maybe a fellows ride with a couple of hundreds, maybe thousands of motorbikers. And it's a joint venture. It's between you and us, and we do our things together, our skills and our experiences, and then I think it's a big deal. And the same thing back in Germany or in Portugal or in Europe, where we do the event fellows ride. It's our event, and we are supporting the people with your concept, with your idea.
Yeah,
it's very exciting possibilities. And Ted Simon, I will be meeting with him in a few weeks' time. So one of our members, our moderator team, he runs an event called the Overland event, and it's all the people that travel around the world on their motorbikes. They all meet up in Oxfordshire for the weekend. And Ted Simon's every member there. He always turns up for that event, and he's getting old now. He's an old man. But he was there last year, and it's such a privilege to spend time with such an inspirational man. But yeah, I will tell him about this discussion we've had. He will like that.
Yeah, he was our first guest in the podcast, in the Fellows Ride podcast, and we, Eric and Eva, the girl, and me, we honored him as an honorary fellow. And I wait just a second. Then we did this here. It's an honorary fellowship. This is the first honorary fellow is Ted Jupiter Simon. It's written here.
Brilliant.
I wanted to go to Montpellier in France, where he's living in the south of France. But then we had the idea to overtake this to him at the Touratech travel event in Germany. You know Touratech?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he was not there because he has to help a friend traveling to Canada or something.
You need to come to Overland, come and meet us. And
for example. Or the other thing is, Touratech would be very interested to invite him next year to the travel event. And then on the main stage, on the Saturday evening, I will overtake this to Ted Simon, the first honorary fellow. So he knows that. And I think he has the appointment, the date for next year for the travel event from Touratech. But all these people are helping us organizing a decent fellows ride in England with a deep relevance and with sometimes I'm asking what's the difference between the fellows ride and the distinguished gentleman's ride. Everybody knows the distinguished fellows ride, the gentleman's ride. We have the same goal. We have the same in focus with men's health or mental health and all this stuff. But the difference is, first of all, we are open. We don't have this style thing. Yeah? The second thing is we want to give the money we raised in the region or local in front of the door. So totally transparent. This is a bit different with the gentleman's ride because it's going to Australia, to Sydney. Nobody knows really. But so we want to help. Our focus is really helping. It's not style. It's only pure helping. So I think that another or second demonstration for mental health, beside of the gentleman's ride, there is space enough to be successful. And so it's a good idea to try to try fellows ride in England. I would like to.
It just came to my mind. Sorry to interrupt you, Paul. Is demonstration the correct word, or would rally be the correct
A
word
rally,
in England?
yeah.
Demonstration tends to have political overtones, I think.
Yeah,
Whereas
exactly.
a rally is a little bit
Yeah.
different, sort of, yeah.
Yeah, because I know the Americans, they're talking, they call it rally, I think. I wasn't sure about the correct word, but if
Or is it a
demonstration
concentration?
Ride outs we use a lot.
Ride out,
Ride
yeah,
outs.
ride out. But an
That's a nice word.
official
Yeah.
ride out. There is a big
Official
political intention inside,
Yeah.
because we want
Yeah.
to raise awareness, and we want
Yeah.
to push the politicians to do more
Yeah.
for the mental health in politics. So
And we
I
don't
think,
want the government to stop us from doing this.
yeah,
If we do a ride out, they can say, no, you can't do a
yeah,
ride out. But
yeah.
if it's a demonstration, they have to let us ride. That's
Yeah.
the secret.
Yeah.
That's the idea behind it.
Yeah.
And we are accompanied by the police
Yeah.
motorcycle
Everything is
team,
official.
the big thing, and they are happy riding with us,
Yeah.
and it's really a big thing.
I mean, we are riding between 100 and 200 kilometers a day on a fellows ride, and every city that we pass is being informed ahead of the event. We tell them there are 200 motorbikers coming through your city on next Saturday, and we are going to raise awareness for mental health. Please inform your people in the local newspapers that we do this. So it's also raising awareness for the people that are living in the region. Why are 200 bikers coming through my town this weekend?
I think it's very, very important. One of our objectives is to try and normalise the discussion, the stigma. It's breaking the stigma that is associated with mental health. And bikers are historically predominantly male. There's no question about that. And what we've got to try and do is get that community talking, reaching out when they need to reach out. Because I've got two girls, and they're much better in their 20s. If they need help, they will ask for help. I'm in my 50s. If I need help, I will think about it for 3 months and then sort of think, no, I can deal with this, and then melt down. And then eventually I will say I need help. But by then I'm already even more damaged. So what we've got to try and do is when you need help, is have the confidence to reach out and get that help. And that's what we're about, is if we can normalise it within the motorbike community, if you need help, you reach out to Mental Health Motorbike or any of our partners, you reach out and you will get some support. That's the hardest thing, is making the decision to ask for help. Probably the hardest thing.
Yeah. You are asking, no, you told us that you are asking the people for volunteering. And maybe there are volunteers who want to organize a fellows ride as well. So no, when it's coming to the work and to the to-dos of doing this, so for sure there are many. Like I get a lot of contacts, and they asking me, "Can I help you?" and volunteering and all this stuff. So I think it's not that hard to organize a fellows ride in the UK.
We're not at all short of volunteers. Bikers really, really want to help.
Yeah.
We're very lucky. We've got a fantastic bunch of volunteers that help us, and more coming on every single month. We run events once a month where we get them all together on Zoom and talk to them about how they can help, and just everybody wants to help. It's fantastic.
By this Christmas, we are aiming to have trained 500 people in mental health first aid. And we are an organisation with no funds, no grants. Nobody gives us any money. We have to ask for support. A lot of the bikers are the ones that give us money. So they will donate, the bike groups will donate, but the public health services of the UK haven't actually given us anything yet. But we are absolutely helping relieve pressure off the National Health Service by doing what we're doing. And at some stage, we will be asking, we need you to support us now, because we've saved you so many millions of pounds. Yeah. And that's where it gets political. I do believe we will have a political arm to what we do in the future at some point, because we have to get change made. There isn't enough services within the UK. We need to be lobbying for more mental health services. We need to be reaching different types of communities. The poorer communities are the ones that probably have least support. So, all of that will have a political edge to it. Although we're not putting ourselves out there as a political organisation, it's politics with a small p. We will be asking for help and support to make change happen.
Oh, it's super interesting. Let's talk a bit about the side of the MHFA. Do you get support from them, a discount, or is it? Or other question is it a course only for the motorbikers, or is it the normal course? Everybody's coming and
our instructor is a biker, so we try to keep. We really are about the motorcycle community, and because we're not funded by any large organisations, it's all money that's donated by bikers for bikers. So that's what we do. We train bikers. The course is exactly the same, but the instructor slants it towards motorcycling and talks about biking and all the things that are associated with it. So yeah, it's a standard course. We pay the instructor the standard rate. We get no discounts. We pay the standard rate for all the course materials, and we have to fundraise for it. And we're very, very grateful to the masses of bike clubs and companies within the motorcycle industry that give us a few £100 here or there, because that's what keeps us going. We're lucky we get a lot of smaller donations, but a big donation from a national organisation would make a massive difference to us. But at the moment, we're doing very well with the help that we have, and we're very grateful for all of it.
Okay. Same in Germany. I did this course with MHFA in Mannheim, and after I asked for cooperation, but they said no, it's a standard, and they don't want to move or adapt. So it's now we are looking for alternatives. Maybe there is an institution who wants to cooperate. I mean, it's a lot of money, huh? We are talking about when you have.
It is a lot of money, and I think for us the course works very well. It translates very well to the motorbike community. It's 15 hours, so it is quite a commitment to do the training, and I think it is accessible. I think the way it's trained, our trainer is very, very good, and what we're actually seeing is just tremendous results because of that course. People are saying that I've used it with my family members. I've used it with my work colleagues. I've used it as part of volunteering with Mental Health Motorbike. And for us, it's worth, we will find the money if we believe that the course is making a difference. We've had other courses that run through universities and colleges.
Yeah.
But they are very, very academic. They're not as accessible for certain types of people. I think the structure of this course works very well. And it may be in the future we may look at different alternatives, or maybe sort of another more advanced level for some of the higher volunteers. But, it does seem to work very well, Karen, doesn't it, the course?
Yeah, the feedback we get from the participants is amazing. They're getting massive amounts from it. I think a lot of them are quite surprised by how much they get from it personally. I think you sign up expecting to help others and find that what you learn really helps you. I don't know whether you found that, Dieter, when you did it, but a lot of people report that.
Absolutely, yeah, the same thing. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But on the other side, it's a lot of money. And I asked people around me to attend this course. They said, no, it's too much money for them.
That's why we subsidise it. People can't afford the £300 of commercial rate.
Absolutely,
£50, people will find it. And there are one or two that can't afford that, and we then will look, we'll say, well, what can you afford? Give me what you can. But generally most people can find £50.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
I want to try. I know this is an audio podcast, but I want to try and explain. I'm going to show the guys on the video Zoom, so you can see at the moment. I'm just displaying. It's like a helmet with our logo in the middle, and it says "Mental Health First Aid" around the helmet. Now, this badge is something that we've created as an identity for bikers to recognise. Yeah. So the industry they're getting behind this badge now. So when we train people in mental health first aid, we send out this badge as a sticker for people to put on their helmets, on their motorbikes. They can, if we're training shops and cafes, they can have a bigger sticker to put on the shop windows and the cafe windows. And the idea behind it is if a biker sees that symbol, they know that there's somebody there that they can ask for help. Okay. And what we're actually seeing now and hearing is bikers are being stopped, at events and sort of saying, "Is there a first aider here?" And people will actually be on their motorbikes, and then they will be using their first aid qualification to give some support. So for us, it's about creating an identity. It's creating a recognisable symbol that we can get out there. It's a brand symbol that people see and they know that they can ask for help when they see that. And we want that on every bike in the UK. Yeah. That would be fabulous.
Yeah. Great idea, yeah.
Well, the first time I saw it, I thought it was a patch that you're sticking to your motorcycle jacket. But a sticker, of course, makes more sense.
Yeah. We sell pin badges, we sell T-shirts, we sell caps, and people buy them. They are so proud of being mental health first aiders that they are walking around buying our caps and these green badge here. Yeah. Fabulous.
If you look at our social media post today that's gone out this morning, I liken this to having a superpower. And it is a superpower because when you support somebody and they, sort of really value that support, it feels as though you've done something very, very important. And it's a superpower because you've gone out and trained yourself to use that knowledge. You've had the training, you've had the skills, and then you actually put that into practice. And for us, it's very, very, again, empowering when you use that for the first time. You feel very, very special about, this was worth doing. And it won't take long for most people, if they have the confidence to use it, it won't take long before they start helping people with their mental health first aid. Yeah, it's fabulous.
Yeah, great idea. We have to put it on the agenda, talk about it, and we're very close. We can do that. We can collect the money or take money and said, okay, we will offer the first courses. Yeah, and it's a good idea, really good idea. Thank you very much for this kick. Yeah, it opens my eyes, and it's a missing link we are looking for real help. Besides doing public relation, raising awareness, and that's a good idea. Yeah, really good idea.
So, Dieter, when you did your course, was it face to face or was it online?
It was online because I'm sitting in Portugal, so it was a German course. It was an online course, but nevertheless, it was great. It was really great. I'm in contact with the instructor.
Yeah,
because she is following me. She is appreciating what we are doing with Fellows Ride, and we had a talk last week or something, and it's great. It's a great thing. Yeah.
There's so many overlaps about what you're doing. You're coming from a very socially driven perspective. So are we. So, I think it would be great long term for us to do something together, even if it's something small to start with.
Yeah. Sure.
I think it's the start. What we're doing here is planting the seed, we'll start watering that over the next few months. And I'd
sure.
love, because you don't know what seed it is, and who knows what tree is going to grow out of that. But it's going to be a very interesting tree.
Absolutely, yeah. The same thing we are doing with the fellows, right? We are not pushing. It's just developing, it's growing, and we put the seed in the ground, and it was growing very fast, and sometimes too fast because
we know all about that.
So, but that means that it's the right idea at the right time, and this gives us the motivation to continue, of course. And you gave us, for me, I can speak for me, and you gave me an idea now, and a direction, an orientation, very worthful, very valuable, and I appreciate it very, very much. Thank you for this.
You're welcome.
Thank you. You've given us some food for thought too.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the issues that I faced, because I've worked internationally for the last 30 years, I have changed my career. At Christmas time, I decided, because of the whole Brexit situation and the access to European funding was much more difficult for our company. So, I took a decision that I was leaving the company and I was going to really focus on something I want to do personally, which is mental health motorbike. So I thought my international sort of career was finishing. But who knows, meeting you two characters, maybe it's not finishing.
No, it's a restart.
A different direction.
Yeah, it's a restart, because the potential of a thing like this, if it is fellows ride or something else, is it's international, global wide. From around the world too, I have a lot of friends in Australia, in Africa, in Mexico, all in Southeast Asia. And if I would ask them to organize a fellows ride in Malaysia or in Mexico next year, there would be a fellows ride. So the potential of this idea and the mental health is a global issue. Yeah. It's a global issue. So the potential of this is, because it's not rocket science, to organize a ride. It's not. You have a lot of volunteers, people wants to help you and everything. So let's try to make a global thing, out of it.
What we do can go global easily, and what you do can go global
same easily. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And then neither of them are complicated. Neither are rocket science. They're both common sense, and they're both relatively easy. Absolutely. It's just time and people, and
absolutely, yeah. So we start thinking,
We start thinking. Any excuse for me to go back to Germany and
No, Paul, you're not running off over that.
we did a lot of work in Innsbruck. I did a lot of work in Innsbruck, so Innsbruck's very, very close to my heart, and obviously Germany.
Yeah.
Well, Innsbruck is a fellows ride location, so
it's Tirol. Yeah, sure.
It's the reason.
It's the most beautiful ride. I can imagine that ride being absolutely
beautiful.
Stunning.
Timmelsjoch, the mountains. It was really great. But this is the thing I always tell the people. It's depression, mental health. It's dark, heavy. It's sad enough. Me and all the people who are helping me with organizing Eric. We want to, on one side, we want to have fun with our motorbikes, riding, and we don't want to do it like a very dark black thing. No, we want to make it easy. Actually, we are making the access, talking about this big issue of mental health easier. And we can do it when we take it easy, when we make it easy and light, with fun a bit, with what we are like, with passion and everything. It's not like this pressure and bad, sad, dark thing. That's what I want, because I want to have fun as well. So helping and having fun. Yeah, that's right.
We think alike.
Yeah.
And I think, most people don't want to be dwelling on the depression, on the negative side. They want lifting. Yeah. And I think I think if you surround yourself around positivity, that will spread, that will rub off onto to the other person. And I think that's the thing. That's why events are so important for us, because people will be surrounded with positivity, and they will go back sort of thinking, I've actually made some new friends here. I've actually done something worthwhile. I've actually learned something new. And I think that's very, very important. It's not about the negative. We don't dwell on the negatives at events. It's all about the positives.
Yeah. It was like a slogan after my around the world trip. I said the world is way too beautiful for depression. And this is our style. We want to do that. Yeah, super. Great to have this meeting and conversation with you. Very creative, very constructive, and
Here's to the future. Here's to something new and exciting. Here's to watering the tree. We planted the seed tonight, and we're going to water the tree now and see what hybrid comes out of it.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So,
thank you very much for talking to us, talking with us, and exchange of ideas and whatever. And you guys out there on the headphones, please do give the video a like, leave a comment, follow us, follow Mental Health Motorbike. We're going to put all the links down in the description. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dieter,
the last
thank you.
Dieter, the last
Great
word.
pleasure.
It's up to you.
Yeah.
Say goodbye.
Okay. See you, hear you next time. Thank you very much.
Stay in contact.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
let's see what happens with the idea of mental health motorcycle and motorbiking and fellows ride in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Das war Fellows Ride, der Podcast mit interessanten Gästen, Motorradfahren, mentaler Gesundheit und offenem Visier.